This week on Excelsior Journeys, it is episode 90, and our guest is writer, director, actor, playwright, screenwriter, curator. I can't even imagine just the amount of stuff that Bobby Del Rio does, and I really can't imagine when he takes the time to sleep with everything he's got going. We're going to find out a lot about his background, about everything that he is doing right now. We're going to find out a lot about his new film, The Market, which is available on Amazon Prime, and so much more. JLD, do the honors.
Hey, this is John Lee Dumas of the award-winning podcast Entrepreneurs on Fire, and you're listening to the Excelsior Journeys with George Sirois. Prepare to ignite.
Is there a burning desire within to share your creativity with the rest of the world? Do you insist on pursuing your passion by any means necessary? Then you are on an Excelsior journey, and you are not alone. Welcome back to Excelsior Journeys. This is George Sirois. Thank you so much for being here. I can't believe it. We've made it to episode 90. So you won't have to hear me say, I can't believe we've been here for more than 80 episodes, because we have hit that 90 episode threshold. Thank you so much for all of your support. I really, really appreciate it. For those of you who have not yet heard the show, or if you want to share the show with others, please go to he'sgotit.com/podcasts so that you can subscribe. Choose whichever platform you like. If you are an iPhone user, strongly recommend the Apple Podcasts. Remember, rates and reviews always mean the world, as do any sort of clicks on that Buy Me a Coffee link. Now, one of the things that I've been doing lately is I have been basically just naming what I call the 4 quadrants of my creative life. There's the author in me. There's the podcaster, obviously. There is the aspiring voice actor and the audiobook narrator. Now, I thought I was busy, but there's someone on Clubhouse who has gone the extra mile, and then another mile, and then another mile. Basically, he has been Steve Rogers saying "on your left," going around the Washington Monument in D.C. And that person would be Bobby Del Rio. Not content to just focus on himself as a writer, director, playwright, actor, but he's also a very accomplished coach. He is also a curator in so many rooms over in Clubhouse, specifically Italians in Hollywood, Men Supporting Women in Film and TV, and the latest one, which is Film TV People Who Get Shit Done. Now, if that doesn't show you exactly what he is all about, then I don't know what to tell you. I met Bobby during the 529 Club voiceover competition. If you guys remember, I was very fortunate to make it to the semifinals, and a huge shout out to Ellie Rods, a former guest of ours, who made it all the way and won agent representation. And Bobby was one of the judges there, and he took on that Simon Cowell mantle and ran with it, and was, at the same time, while being brutally honest, he was also incredibly helpful. And his critique actually inspired me to kind of switch around my game as much as I could, so that way I could really present myself in the best possible way. And then that next round, boom, made it to the semifinals. And thankfully, Bobby has been able to take some time out of his incredibly busy schedule to come in over here. The man has been interviewed so many times, I lost count. I can't even imagine how he's still doing it, but he's here today. And so it's my pleasure to introduce to you this week's guest, Bobby Del Rio. Bobby, how are you?
Hey, man, I'm so tired. It's 2 more interviews today. It's great, but it's shocking, I don't have a publicist or anything. I've worked with publicists in the past, but literally I've had 18 interviews booked in the last month. Wow.
Wow.
It's a lot. And I've been doing 2-a-days this week.
Really?
Yeah. It's just how it works out. So, and I try to accommodate everyone. It's not always possible, but I do my best. Also, I have to say, dude, you're super pro. I was like, man, fuck, you're the next. Oh, see, I already dropped the F-bomb.
No worries. I already said you get shit done, so
Thanks,
don't worry
man.
about that.
Thank you.
I'm putting the E on this episode. Don't worry.
This is me trying to keep it clean, but I just it just comes out. Yeah, no. like you're very professional, man. I was like, man, this sounds like a radio show. You definitely have you had like a radio show or anything?
I've been doing this since 2018. I actually took a pretty long hiatus from November of 2019 until June of 2020. Season 2 premiere of this show was myself and 13 other authors who are part of the legacy of this really great pop culture website, 411mania.com. That's where I really kind of got going with my writing. And 2 of our top writers on that site had recently passed away. So we use this as a kind of like a celebration of their lives and look back at the fun ins and outs and everything of the site. And it served as the springboard to getting back into this. And once that happened, never missed a week. I realized like everything had just like fallen back into place. And now I was ready to go ahead and keep going with this.
Well, you can tell, man. I mean, it's funny because it's in a way, that's what I would tell people in the voiceover contest, right? Is that you have to rehearse, you have to put the work in. It has to be polished. Yeah. There's a big difference between it sounding, like passable and it's sounding slick and professional. Yeah. Yeah. And the difference is hard work.
It really is. It really is. And I'm flattered that you think that way of the show. I'm really, really excited about that. And I am really excited to hear a little bit about your project that you have going right now that's available on Amazon Prime in both the US and the UK. And that's a feature film called The Market. And you're not only the writer of it, but you're also the director. When the hell do you sleep? You've been saying that you're tired and everything. I totally get it. But when do you allow some time for yourself?
Oh my God, you sound like my mother. No, dude, I know. I sleep in I swear to God, these days it's like 3-hour chunks. Oof. And I sleep for 3 hours and then I'll literally go on Clubhouse. And I was just there. I just got modded and it was like a 600 person room or something.
Oh, is that the Breakfast of Champions one?
I don't know. I don't know.
It's all a blur. It's all a blur.
No, honestly, I'm either modded or I'm pulled on stage.
Yeah.
At this point, it's got to be 100 times a week.
Wow. Well, when they see you walking into a room, virtually, right. Still like walking into a room, why would you not just say hey, it's Bobby Del Rio, come on up here.
Yeah,
it's pretty much provide the value.
Yeah, and I'm probably going to hit 12,000 followers. Maybe tonight. I'm at 11,800 followers, which is kind of a lot.
Damn.
Yeah, so it's I'll go into rooms and even if I don't know anyone, they either know who I am or they look at my follower count, and then I'm a moderator. And then so I have, I probably have 4 or 5 people pinging me to be on stage in their rooms every hour.
Wow.
At any time of day, all week.
And I thought I was real big for getting that having that happen to me just like once or twice. But
look, it is you are. It's not. Yeah. But it's just I don't know.
If people see value, then then you just got to go with that. It's like perception is reality.
Yeah, look, I don't know what it is, man. It's just a lot. It's so I don't sleep, I'm just all right. That's cool.
So tell us a little bit about The Market. So can people get this on, like you said, that it was available on Amazon Prime. So is it wrapped up in our Prime memberships, or do we have to, is there a little extra to put in order to see it? What exactly is The Market? Tell us a little bit about that.
Sure. Where are you based?
I am in St. Louis.
Okay, cool. Yeah, if you have a membership, and you get Prime Video, you can watch The Market. It's there. It's just part of the catalog or whatever.
Oh, perfect. Okay.
Yeah, The Market. It's like a gangster movie about Wall Street. It was my best play that I actually produced in 2010 in Toronto.
Nice. Oh,
because I'm from Toronto. I'm in Canada.
Oh, nice.
Although I'm now working in Los Angeles.
Yeah.
So my agent is in Hollywood. There's also a couple managers in Hollywood who want to work with me. So I'm just trying to build my team. I'm still repped in Toronto as well. But to be honest, it's the same kind of thing. There's a lot of people who are interested in working with me, where that, like, I'm like, oh, who do I work with? But anyways, but The Market was my best play in 2010. And then I think I made the movie, I want to say 2015, 2016, something like that.
Okay.
It took years to make it into a movie because it was just hard to figure that out. And then the reason it was so long ago, but I'm talking about it now, is that it took another maybe 5 years to get a distribution deal.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so it's not like my career has just been, this sort of like rocket to the stars. Like, I've had a lot of success, but
it's been coming after like years and years of kicking and scratching and getting your way up there. No, that's what this show is all about, really.
I hit singles, man. I hit singles all the time. I don't know if I've had so many home runs. I've had some huge things that have really popped, but for the most part, I'm just like a grinder, right?
Yeah.
It's
and
like,
that's what that's what Joe Torre always told the Yankees back in the late 90s. It was just like, it's not about just, everyone getting up there and hitting the home run. It's about those small bites, just those, one hit after another, just get on base, and then something great will happen. And here we are.
I'm in Hollywood now, man. I'm doing something right. I have a ton of projects, but it's been a 25-year career of hitting singles,
That's a lot of singles, though. That's a lot of singles.
They add up.
Yeah, exactly. That's a strong batting average right there. So with that in mind, let's go back in time a little bit to first of all, before we do that, tell us a little bit about what so you said it was, so The Market itself, you said it was Gangsters on Wall Street?
Yeah. Okay. So I got a distribution deal at the beginning of the pandemic, right? So I was just sort of mapping out the journey. Mm-hmm. And then I've probably done now, oh man, I want to say 50 to 100 interviews about this project.
Wow.
Certainly 50. And I just mean from the beginning of the pandemic to now.
Yeah.
So
you think the pandemic really helped out in that way? You don't want to make light of it, but at the same time, it's just like, you got to do whatever you can to make some sort of positive vibe out of this. Yeah.
Dude, my career's blown up during the pandemic, to be honest. I don't think I would have gotten a distribution deal for my movie maybe at all if it wasn't for the pandemic, because people needed content. People had seen everything. So my distributor, I may not even have had my distributor's attention, right? Because there's too much happening.
Yeah.
But it was like during that lull where everyone had seen everything on Netflix. People were like, what the hell? Like, how long is this going to last?
Yeah, there's only so many times you can watch Tiger King. So,
I mean, that number is high, but
yeah.
Although Carol Baskin started following me on Clubhouse.
On Clubhouse? Oh, that's great.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I was like, what is happening right now?
That's great.
But yeah, anyway, so I got this distribution deal, but it'd been like 10 years, man. It was like years of trying to get it a deal, and I couldn't. So there's like this lull, and then I guess everyone was just looking for content, and then I got my distribution deal, and then I don't know, like, it's done really well in terms of feedback, man. Like, there's so many people who really like it, and it's an allegory for capitalism. Right. Partly the pandemic helped me, and again, it sounds somewhat gauche to say, but the pandemic helped me because it collapsed the economy, and my movie is a conspiracy theory about how you can collapse an economy.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Almost,
so it's
almost like The Big Short kind of thing.
Kind of, but it's a little more elevated, and it's fictional, but it's based on reality. Okay. My premise is that 4 guys with enough leverage in the marketplace could actually crash the market. Whereas The Big Short, which I love Michael Lewis, but that's really about what actually happened, right? Where somebody was betting that it would crash over time, where mine is like 4 guys did it on purpose. So I kind of made like a heist film about that.
Which is a stronger take on it too, because The Big Short was very passive. It was just like, they know it's going to crash because of this, and this. And it was basically just them sitting back and waiting. While with this, it's your characters actually making it happen.
That's right. I mean, the difference is that mine's fictional, and Michael Lewis, I'm one of my favorite nonfiction authors in the world for sure. So, but yeah, mine's like a movie, right? Like, it's more like, oh, imagine if, and then, but I also turned into this sort of like vicious allegory for capitalism, where toxic masculinity is this sort of like weapon that breeds racism and sexism, homophobia. So that's why I had so much difficulty getting a distribution deal, right? Is that the language is vicious, but it's well researched and accurate. So I probably had, I don't know, maybe 100, 200 people who work in the finance industry tell me this is exactly how people speak. It's like it's a perfect cross section of the culture of that world.
Nice. Sounds very.
But that world is vicious, man. It's like very, very well done. Yeah. So actually, Mammoth was my favorite playwright growing up.
Yeah.
So I refer to this movie sometimes like Glengarry Glen Ross with guns.
Nice. That's a good alliteration too. Glengarry Glen Ross with guns.
Yeah, I know. I screw it up all the time. I have to like reset. Glengarry Glen Ross.
You said it this early enough, so obviously you're doing something right. So that's great.
Exactly. Thanks, man.
Yeah. So let's go back a little bit to the lightning bolt moment with everything that you got going, all these different irons that you have in this fire.
Sure.
That's pretty high right now. Those flames are definitely catching on. But what was the moment for you back at the very beginning of this? What was your lightning bolt moment that made you kind of point in a direction and say, that's what I want to do. That's the kind of life I want to live. That's the person I want to be. What was that for you? And which of all these different venues that you have going, which one was the first one to take?
I mean, I know the answer to this very precisely, actually, because so I was an economics student at the University of Toronto as an undergrad, and I was very unhappy. You know, I was like a math prodigy. So I was like top of my class in every subject in school my whole life. So I went and enrolled in commerce prereqs for, it's like economics and accounting and marketing, these kind of things at U of T. But I was unhappy. I was skipping classes, but I would show up 10 minutes early because I was cast as the lead in a couple different projects on stage while I was a student. And I remember I was cast. I had a lead role in this play at the University of Toronto Drama Festival. And there was like the Arundel Drama Club, and they put on this play. And I remember being in the theater being like, because I thought that I was, pretty good at acting, even though it was a hobby. And they were amazing. They were by far the highest quality performances that I'd seen in my life by people my age. And on the spot, I realized I needed to go there.
Yeah.
And it just so happened that, I don't know if I've even told this story before, that the lead actress in my play had dated like one of the main stars of that program. And he happened to be in the audience, and she introduced me. And then he liked me. And then he introduced me to Patrick Young, who actually ran the entire program. And then on the spot, I decided that I needed to be there. I went in, I auditioned, I got into that program, and I became, one of the most successful people who's ever attended that program.
Wow.
Still to this day, that was almost 25 years ago.
That's great. That's wow.
Yeah.
So you really just kind of so for that part of it, you took off pretty well over there. So.
Yeah. I started as soon as I made that decision, within like a year or two, like I was doing American movies. My first movie I had a small role in a movie with Jeff Daniels on HBO called Cheaters.
Okay.
And then I did a movie for the USA Network, a TV movie with Penelope Ann Miller called The Mary Kay Letourneau Story.
I remember that. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm in the movie. I play the lead's brother, and I was in like a few scenes, but I was still a student when that was happening. It was crazy.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. So you knew that as you were kind of building up your resume, as you were going through all of this, it was just like, I can make a run of this. I can.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Like, I mean, I was pretty successful as an undergraduate student in the professional world. Like, I was called the rising star of Toronto theater by I Weekly, which was a major arts newspaper in Toronto. While I was an undergraduate student, I even had a 30-minute television documentary done about me.
Wow.
While I was a student, so basically I had a camera. I was like the Kim Kardashian of Toronto playwrights. That's how I refer to it. Yeah, so I had a camera crew following me around while I was in school, and then after I graduated, it aired on TV across Canada. Like, it was pretty insane what happened to me. Yeah.
But you can actually be proud of what you did that kind of got those cameras on you in the first place. So there is that.
Oh, yeah. But also, like, there's an element of luck and everything, but I don't know. Like, for example, I'm getting, again, 18 interviews in a month. Like, at a certain point, like, people are interested in what you have to say. And to be honest, people have always been interested in what I have to say since the beginning of my career. So,
Excellent.
Yeah.
And so has it been that sort of breaks, the amount of breaks that you've gotten, was that something that kind of made you always kind of turning back and just saying, like, let's make sure that other people get this opportunity?
It's a very good question. I don't even know where that came from. I guess, maybe I'm Canadian. That's why. I don't know. I've just always had a sort of like strong, like, social conscience. So I did this play called Christian Values.
Yeah.
Right. So I graduated from school. I was on the cover of Now magazine. Now magazine was like the biggest arts newspaper in Toronto. I was on the cover. Actually, it was pretty screwed up because, like, again, I told you I had this television documentary being done about me. So when I did the photo shoot to be on the cover of that newspaper, I actually had a camera crew filming the photo shoot of me. And then they're both talking to me at the same time. Like, it was so weird. I was like 23 years old, you know what I mean? But so that play was actually pretty cool. And it was actually this sort of like Brechtian, I don't know how much you know about theater, but
yeah,
it was like
I studied theater. So yeah.
Okay, cool. So I in high school or whatever, I did like a big project on Bertolt Brecht. But I loved, he would like break the fourth wall, and it was all about sort of like, like helping the world through art. And so I was very inspired by that. So I wrote this play called Christian Values about this salesman named Christian who values, yeah, right.
Nothing subtle over here.
No. People didn't get it though. Wow, I was like, really?
Really?
But anyway, he valued money more than like his life. So he was actually this salesman who was very unhappy because he always wanted to be a musician. But I did this cool thing where I had his like sort of sales pitch, but I had it repeat 4 times during the course of the play, but there was always a different dynamic to it. And so the play ends, spoiler alert. I mean, it was 20 years ago, but this guy's like, basically what he's speaking right directly to the audience, telling them, what are you going to do? Right? Like, this is basically the last day. You have to decide, are you going to give in to your passions or not? And actually, I remember like the director told me there was this, there's people whose lives changed because of my play, and they had always wanted to do a certain thing, and then they watched my play and they went for their dreams.
Nice.
So I don't know, I guess I've kind of always been doing that. And I really, film, TV people who get shit done, is kind of the whole room is that,
Yeah. It's almost like that room on Clubhouse. It's almost like it's a means of trying to draw up some more talent, some more up and coming talent, just kind of put the spotlight on them.
Look, man, what I say is we are not an industry. We are a community. So I'm trying to retrain people how to do business, to give. And I say this in lots of different ways. Sometimes I can be quite stern, as you know.
Oh, yeah. I've been on the receiving end. So, yeah, I know.
Yeah. But as you say, like, it helped you, right?
Yeah. Week 3 for those who were not there, and they're likely a lot of all of you who were not there for the week 3 auditions. But I was at work, and it was kind of like a last minute decision for me to go in. And then it was, okay, what am I going to do? Do I read? Do I do impressions? I was just like going back and forth. And then finally, like with 2 minutes to go, I was like, all right, I'm going to read. And here's William Goldman's book, Adventures in the Screen Trade. Why not? Let's go with this and get out there, get outside. And here we go. And then just jumped right in. And, you basically just like, you had it right there. You just said that, like it sounded a little rushed and it sounded a little unprepared. And yeah, it was. And so the next week I wrote my own script and decided which characters can I do, and wound up doing 9 impressions in 45 seconds. So like that
semifinals
made it to the semifinals. Yep.
And that's the thing. And I misunderstood all the time, which is fine because I don't really care what people think of me. But what people need to understand is I've been incredibly successful in my career. Right. So I've hit singles, but I've hit a lot of singles.
Yeah.
Right. I'm like Ichiro, So like I know how to succeed because I've succeeded a lot over and over and over again through hard work. Right.
Yeah.
So that's one thing I can help people do, right? So anyway, so with my rooms, like if it gets too loose, like it happened yesterday, we ran it for 9 hours.
Wow.
This is a 9-hour room, man. Yeah, dude. It went 9 hours. Like I was so tired.
People still kept coming in, so it was why stop?
Yeah, well, they wouldn't leave. I mean, it's I don't know. I think it's what I say is it's a blend of compassion and business, but you need both. But I really want people to succeed. Actually, I remember I got kicked out of this like actor website in my 20s or something because like acting, as can be vicious business and it's so easy to fail. But there's so many people. It's actually like a lot of acting coaches and resources, and what pisses me off, quite frankly, because they're there to cushion the blow when you fail. And I remember the last thing I wrote, and that got me kicked out of the website, I was like, you're not here to teach people the skills to succeed. You're just cushioning the blow when they inevitably fail. And then they kicked me out. And of course, all of those people who were the regulars, none of them have amounted to anything. None of them have done. And now I'm in Hollywood and I'm blowing up as I have my entire career. I want people to succeed, right?
Yeah.
Like I know what you need to do to get there, right? At least in terms of hard work and drive. Luck is always a factor, but it's amazing how often I've gotten lucky over a 25-year career.
Yeah.
When I've worked my ass off, right? So I just think that people would rather. I think they'd rather not hear the truth because it's easy to think you're amazing. But I think someone like you can recognize, oh man, like that actually helped me get to the semifinals.
Yeah. Because it was one of those things where it was basically just me just saying, you know what, I need to trust myself. I can do these voices. Right. I can bring that out. So why not just go all out and just be who I am and see what happens and not try to go the safe route. And
look, put it this way, I don't give false compliments, right? I think that you're very good at running this podcast. I'm like, I was like, have you done radio, man? I was like, oh, like, because just the way that you prep, the way that you segue, I'm noticing that. The way that you research, I'm like, oh, like this guy's a pro.
I appreciate that very much. And any rate and review is always appreciated. It's like it's like at my full-time job. One of our clients had some really nice things to say, to me, and I was just like, make sure you tell Jim. So, so with everything you got going on, like all these different things, what was it about Club? I know what attracted me to Clubhouse. It was going to be a slam dunk. I knew I was going to love this place as soon as I saw it, as soon as I experienced it, really. But what was it for you? What was your introduction to this app / community?
Dude, I wish that my Clubhouse origin story was more profound. But I was just bored. I was fully bored. I have a pretty good presence on Facebook, and then my friend Hiromi, I just always get a ton of attention in my career. And then Facebook, I've had some sort of legendary posts. Sometimes they go the other way and it's like, people fight on my posts or whatever, or they fight with me or whatever. Sometimes it's quite inspirational or just really my personality, right? But I remember my friend Hiromi on one of these big posts was like, oh, you should join Clubhouse. I think you'd be great at it. And I was like, what the hell's that?
Oh boy.
and she like posted this like link, and I was like, I don't know, that sounds stupid, but I'm bored, so I just joined, and then it changed my life.
Yeah. And was it immediately like upon the first use where you knew that, oh, this is something I completely thought like I was completely wrong about, or is this something like a slow burn?
It's definitely a slow burn. Like I thought it was cool. Like once I was on it, I was like, oh, this is interesting. It's like a bunch of people talking, basically. It's like, okay, well, I mean, that's different. And I hated Facebook at that time because it was so toxic. It was like, like mid-pandemic or whatever. And I was like I was so purposefully positive during the pandemic because like everybody, at least in my world, I'm pretty sure it's most people's worlds, were so negative and toxic that Facebook was like a horrible experience for me. Not even just, it's not like I wasn't necessarily being attacked, but just everybody was attacking each other.
Yeah. Everyone was talking at each other and not to each other.
Oh yeah, dude. It was so terrible. I was like, oh my God. Like I didn't even want to log on, but I started being so positive. I would like literally write things like, you're beautiful. Or, oh my God, I can't get you out of my mind. Or do you know how awesome you are? Or whatever. Just these sort of like generic positive statements. But then people started messaging me and they were like, you're changing my life. You're getting me through the pandemic. Like, thank you for being positive. Like every day.
That's great. That's great.
But it was also, it was good, I guess, in terms of my reaction, but it was bad because it was like needed so badly because it was such a negative space, right? Yeah. So when I went to Clubhouse, what I will say is the first thing I realized is like, oh, like people aren't yelling at each other.
Yeah.
They're talking, but I didn't know how much
sharing and they're opening up. And I
mean, it depends on the room. It depends on the room for sure, but that's what struck me, right? At that point, I didn't know how beautiful the space could be, but it definitely didn't seem, as sort of like nihilistic and toxic as Facebook had been. So I just jumped in. I kind of just played around, but then I don't know. I've kind of just figured it out a little bit, and 12,000 followers later, here I am.
It's also hard to be a troll on Clubhouse when you can't really hide behind, a keyboard.
Yeah, we just throw you out of the room. Yeah. I throw people out of my room every day, but then everyone does, but we don't even care. Like somebody, like literally, like it's like we'll be talking about racism or misogyny or something, some really important subject, and then some fucking random will come up and be like, penis.
Oh, jeez.
And it's like, all right. So I literally pause the room, and I walk people through how to report and block them. Because you can report a recent speaker. We go to the upper right-hand corner. We click the three dots. And so we'll just like report you en masse and get you kicked off the platform, dude. So, okay, for 1 second, you get to be a dick, but okay, now we know who you are, and bye.
And not only that, but I mean, just like, look at this opportunity that you just passed up because you wanted to be a troll. I'll never get that.
They're screwed up. So, it's so funny. So yesterday, I have my room, Film TV, people get shit done. And it's one of the most popular rooms for film. We get some of the biggest numbers. And then somebody created a room that was like Film TV people who really get shit done at the exact same time as us. As just a way to like steal some of the shine from the room. And I'm just like 10 people screenshot it and sent it to me. And I was just like, they're like, are you mad? I'm like, I'm not mad. It's just stupid. It's like, what are you trying to, but it's like, okay, so now you lost this opportunity to build relationship. I'm like one of the most connected people in the entire app, right? I'm in all the biggest rooms now, and the business rooms, the film rooms, everything. And so instead of like building a relationship with me, because I want to build relationships with people, you want to like basically stick the middle finger to me. And like, what do you think is going to take you further in life,
Right. Yeah.
But this is how people are. You have choices. You have to make the choices that you think are going to be positive. And if you don't, it's probably not a shock why you're not successful.
Gotcha. Gotcha. And so during that time, you're getting acquainted with Clubhouse. You're getting yourself familiar with the app. Your follow count is obviously growing. And so then was it just right away when you made sure that you would be as visible as possible, just making sure that that bio is what it needs to be, and then ready to just kind of go out there and start building rooms for yourself?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it was more simple, I guess. I just kind of did what everybody does. I just kind of listened to some rooms, and then it's like, oh, maybe I'll talk. And like, I was very sort of like unpretentious about it.
Mm-hmm.
To be honest, I'm still pretty unpretentious about it. I'm just very active, and everybody knows me, so all these opportunities are coming. But I still don't really have a strategy beyond make lots of friends and be yourself.
Mm-hmm.
One thing I'm pretty proud of is I have never lied on that app. It's in 4 months I've been there,
Mm-hmm.
and I was like, don't lie about anything ever. Just be yourself. Who cares? I've cried like 50 times on the app.
Yeah.
Not on purpose. I'm just fully myself.
Yeah.
In some ways, I feel like I'm more myself on Clubhouse than in real life.
It's very vulnerable. It's very vulnerable in a way that, just like you said, you can just kind of be you and unapologetically you. That's the beauty about that app. Like I learned, quite a bit about myself by going on that app. I've been on there since mid-January, and I will always be grateful to KM Robinson for getting me on there, because the sort of opportunities that have come up here, we're talking right now. We're talking right now because, like, you reached out to me, and I was really, very appreciative to hear that. And as soon as I heard that you were available, I was just like, yes. So, because honestly, like you were someone that I felt like I wasn't sure if I would be at a stature where I would get your attention, but I'm glad to have gotten it, so.
Well, dude, I mean, you have a lot to offer too. I mean, this is a pretty cool podcast you're doing, and
thank you.
Look, I will say one thing that I also do that not everyone does, because I'll say it publicly, and I'll, I get into sort of friendly debates in some of the big business rooms sometimes, but
yeah,
I'll do every interview,
mm-hmm.
and not everyone will. And as again, I'm doing 2 a days. Like, I don't need to do that. Like literally 18 interviews in a month. I mean, it's kind of stupid, but right. For me, it's like, I actually like meeting new people, and also you don't know where people are going to go. So
yeah,
everything's an opportunity for me.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't look at you differently than I look at, I have a major article coming out in Canada. They interviewed me 4 times. There's like a photo shoot. There's all this stuff. But for me, it's like everybody's the same.
Yeah.
And so I evaluate every opportunity equally. So, I have done a lot of stuff for sure in my career, but I don't look at me as like I'm better than you or whatever.
Right.
So it's an opportunity for me as well. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And I'm glad that you've been able to, take advantage of that by coming on here. So was it around that time, like as everything is growing, when did the 529 Club all of a sudden start looking in your direction?
Oh man, everything's a blur. Okay, so I think what happened, if I track the journey, is Mark Summers and I, because Mark's kind of loud and boisterous, and I'm an actor, he's a casting director. So I went to a panel each once, so I was like, oh, okay, this guy's quite a character. I wasn't sure about him, I was like, about this guy, Mark Summers, but he seemed smart, right? And I was like, okay. Yeah. And then we were both in this is the thing about Clubhouse, right? Like, you get in these random rooms, and Mark Summers and I were there. It was like 10 of us. And it was like a very unpretentious title. It was something like, like, I don't know, film fun, or I don't know, something stupid, right? I was like, all right, whatever, right? And then Mark Summers was there. I was like, oh, hey, this is Mark. And then he mentioned that one of us mentioned, because we're both mixed race, right? He's like, I think half Indian, half Irish. He's a very particular type of South Asian that he talks about all the time. I don't remember exactly what it was, but I'm half Chinese, half Italian. So we have this sort of like unique mixed ancestry in common. And we just bonded immediately because we understood each other's experience, and both of us have been really affected by our mixed race.
Right.
and he became like a brother to me immediately.
Nice.
And then I messaged him and I was like, let's do a room about it. And then we did this room called Mixed Race Revolution. We just talked about being mixed race with a bunch of people for like an hour.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'm super tight to Mark, man. That guy's like, he's one of my closest friends in the app.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, so then through that, I guess I kind of started hanging out with UK people more because I was just kind of always chilling out with Mark.
Yeah.
And then I had met Deborah Wooten from 5 to 9, but then I started getting closer to her because I was hanging out with Mark more. So now I have so many friends in that UK film world. So then when it came to this voiceover contest, you know, I pretty much talked to Mark and Deborah every day in a room or off platform. I love Deborah as well. She's awesome, right? So it was
very
just
great. Yeah.
I'm just part of the crew, you know what I mean? So they just asked me to be part of this thing. I was like, yeah, sure. I didn't even know what it was, but I'm so close to them. I was like, yeah, of course.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Excellent. And so what was because I wasn't there for week 1. I wasn't there for the very beginning of this. I think I found out about it through week 2 when I happened to pop into the post audition room, and I was hearing like a lot of people saying like, yeah, you made it to the semifinals. That's awesome. And so I was just like, what is it exactly that's going on here? What is the whole competition thing? And that was when everything happened. So what exactly started that? What started that whole competition in the first place?
I mean, I wasn't one of the organizers, but I think what it was is Mark and Deborah were talking about putting an event together, and then they wanted to really maximize the value of an audio-only app. And then I think they both came to this conclusion that, wow, like a voiceover contest would be a great way to do that. And now there's actually another contest coming. Have they announced it yet?
The musical theater one?
Yeah, okay. I wasn't sure if I could say anything. Yeah. So, but they're very smart, right? Both Mark and Deborah. They're very actually hilarious and kind, but they're also incredibly smart, right?
Yeah.
And so it's like they've been thinking about it for a while. It's like because it's an audio only app. So they're like, how do we sort of leverage this resource for maximum attention? And I thought it was brilliant. The voiceover contest is like, oh my God, like what a perfect showcase for the perfect platform.
Yeah. And that was definitely the case. I had once I figured out what I was going to do with it, I had so much fun, being a part of that. And it was amazing just hearing the kind of talent that was coming out. That was me getting introduced to Ellie Rods, and
I love Ellie.
And both of them were guests on the show last month. So it's really something just seeing like all this great talent and just one after the other. So
Ellie's
really
going to be a
people.
star. I think she's going to become a legitimate star. I mean, I thought like all the finalists were great, but I was pretty like effusive in my praise for Ellie, for like last 2 or 3 weeks of the competition, to the point where maybe I wasn't supposed to, but I was literally like, Ellie's the person to beat in this contest. Like I was actually saying that.
Yeah. And rightfully so. She's incredibly talented and just a real sweetheart, like on top of that. So
yeah, so genuine too, like just off platform too. Like we talk a little bit, like, like we DM and stuff, and she's just cool, man. She's just, I don't know, her vibe, you just get caught up in her vibe. She's the real deal.
Yeah. And I remember afterwards at the Q&A with her, and I asked her what sort of dream role is it that she really wants to keep an eye out for. And she said, as soon as she said that she wanted to be a Disney voice, I was like, if they're not looking in her direction, then there's something wrong with them. So,
no, I mean, look, I personally know a ton of people talking to her now. Like she's blowing up, man.
That's great. That's great. I'm so happy for her. So happy for her. Yeah. And so with that in mind, with all the sort of talent that you've seen and all the different people that you've kind of helped curate along the way, what would you say for someone who really kind of wants to get into any of these venues, whether it's acting, playwriting, screenwriting, directing, voiceover, like anything? What would you say would be the first step that they need to take in order to get to where they need to be?
I'm going to have a very boring answer, but I do think it's super pragmatic.
Mm-hmm.
And I say this as someone who, is sort of an industry expert on Clubhouse
Mm-hmm.
50 to 75 times a week, right? So this comes up all the time.
Yeah.
You need to know exactly what it is you want to do.
Mm-hmm.
And you would be amazed how many people do not know the answer to that question.
Yeah.
Where I'm like, literally, okay, what is your goal? Like, it happens all the time, right? People
Mm-hmm.
there's kind of meander they want to do. They just want to be successful, and they'll be like, oh, films or movies or acting. Like, they just kind of want to make it in the industry.
Mm-hmm.
And my first question was, what exactly do you want to do?
Mm-hmm.
Most people don't know.
Yeah.
Sorry.
If you were to boil down like everything that you do in, say, like just a couple of words, what would you say that you are with everything that you got going? What is that main sort of drive? Is that just like entertainer, storyteller? What is it for you?
Well, okay, I'm at a different point in my career because, I've succeeded a lot. So what I kind of do is I'll create like a new like strategy maybe every 3 months.
Mm-hmm.
So I focus on projects, but I'm literally at a point, like I'm making feature films, and like I have some of the top people on the app want to develop a television series with me. I finance connections around the world. So for me, it's more project based, but I do think for somebody at the beginning of their career, like you're not going to achieve anything in a field that's so competitive unless you know exactly what it is that you are trying to do. Because I actually think the entertainment industry is not so hard to succeed in if you know exactly what it is you want to do, and you work at it in a sort of systematic, business oriented way.
Mm-hmm.
It's just like a business, like anything else.
Yeah.
But most people, I think they get caught up, in the sort of like the shine, you know what I mean? Like they see the spotlight, they're like, oh my God, I want that. But really what they want is the attention.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, well, okay, but are you trying to like be a lead in a Shakespearean play?
Mm-hmm.
Are you trying to, write a feature film? Are you trying to direct episodic television? Like you kind of have to know what exactly it is you want to do. And then there's very different networks and very different steps to go to all of those places. Now, I'm at a place now where I can kind of traverse back and forth very effortlessly between all those things because I'm very experienced in all of those areas, right?
Mm-hmm.
To be honest, like I just got a lead in a new project, male lead in a project shooting in Canada in August.
Mm-hmm.
And my friend just texts me. I'm attached as the star of, I don't know, 4 to 6, maybe 8 different projects, feature films, web series, television pilots.
Wow.
But I'm so established that I'm already proven. So it's more like, what's the job? How much does it pay? When do we shoot?
Right.
And my friend's like, well, you want to do this? I'm like, oh, that sounds cool. Or it's not my thing, or whatever it is, right? But you can't just get to that point, right? I think people want to get there and say, no. You need to figure out how to be good enough to get an agent first. Mm-hmm. And that's not easy. The hardest part in the entertainment industry is at the beginning.
Yeah. Yeah, because no one wants to be the first one to give you a break. Everyone wants to give people a break. Everyone wants to get things going. And I've seen this. I've seen this with my friends. One of my friends online, Blake Northcott, also from Canada. She started off writing and just, writing and creating content. And then she caught, like one person's attention and then another person's attention. And then all of a sudden she's writing for DC Comics and her line is selling out. She did the 8-issue Fathom run and that was sold really well. Then all of a sudden Heavy Metal Heavy Metal magazine comes around. And
look, once you're in, like, it's just more opportunities. It's not like it's ever like easy, but it's so much easier because you have all these friends. Mm-hmm. You have people who trust you. And, in my case, I have a public track record of all publicity and successes. And I've succeeded wildly, quite frankly, like over and over and over again. So I've never had I got a Hollywood agent from the app in 3 weeks. Mm. Really? I don't even live in LA. There's people who've been doing it, who live there for decades and they can't get an agent.
Wow.
But I have a body of work. I have talent. I have press. I'm at a different level, right?
Mm-hmm.
But it's at the beginning that it's so hard because everybody wants to get into the industry.
Mm-hmm.
And when you don't have credits, you don't have contacts, nobody knows you.
Yeah.
The whole industry is designed to keep 95% of the people who want in out.
Mm.
Right? So 95%, and it may be closer to 98%, quite frankly.
Right.
95% of the people will never break in. That's the
Mm-hmm.
reality. They will never break in. I put a panel together with Tori Spelling. Do you know Tori Spelling?
Oh, yeah.
So we became friends on the app. And I asked Tori to be on this panel with a ton of influencers, people with like hundreds of thousands or millions of views or whatever, like Instagram and TikTok and YouTube and all these things.
Mm-hmm.
But Tori and I saw it the same way, but also we're very like established. Obviously, she's more famous than I am, but she's in the US market. In Canada, I'm very high profile. And there are all these influencers, but Tori and I agree, like the reality is that most of the agents, like in Hollywood and internationally, the top agents, because I'm at one of the best agencies in Canada as well, right?
Right.
It's like they don't really care that much about the content creation stuff.
Really?
So not really. I mean, I think maybe it'll change, but I still think that all that stuff is like an audition in a way,
Mm-hmm.
but everyone's doing that. Once you're established, like they don't care. There's a whole system. Like they're not, my agents they don't care about, all these things, right? Like they care about what are my film and television credits? What movies have I worked on?
Mm-hmm.
And also I'm part of the union, ACTRA, like the Canadian SAG.
Yeah.
But it's the same idea. Right? Once you get into the union, it's like you can't even do some of that stuff. So it's like once you're in the industry, it's a very, very different view. There's certainly like maybe like less than 1%, but you see people who build their own content and then all of a sudden they can break into legitimate film and television. It does happen.
Yeah.
But if you really consider the number of people creating their own content, like on YouTube or, even podcasts and, Instagram, whatever, like everyone's doing it.
Right.
Okay. But how many people are actually working in legitimate film and television?
Mm-hmm.
It's a very, very infinitesimal number.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Because it's still the same benchmarks.
Right.
It's not popular, but I'll tell people, instead of a YouTube channel, like you should go to theater school. Like I'm a classically trained actor.
Mm-hmm.
Because the reality is at a certain point in the acting world, I'll speak of first. Okay, that's cool that you have all these viewers. But now if you're going to play a lead role
Mm-hmm.
in something, even for film and television,
Right.
I was the star of my theater school.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm a monster. I'm really, really good at acting.
Mm-hmm.
So if you've never really acted, even if you have a lot of views, you'll never beat me out for a part.
Right.
Because I'm very, very skilled. It's like voice, right? It's like you have to play. You have to be good.
Mm-hmm.
You could have a lot of people, I don't know, viewing your thing, but if you're not as good as Ellie Rods,
Mm-hmm.
you don't win.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's really what it comes down to. Like
Right.
it's the whole thing, like they always say, like cream rises to the top and everything, but that's not just words. It's the people that are good at this are going to get that kind of attention.
And I'm not going to call anybody out because that's not my style, but there was a couple people who had pretty good followings on Clubhouse for voice. And quite
Mm-hmm.
frankly, they got lazy. They let it get to their head and they got eliminated. And Ellie's a grinder. She's she's a sweetheart, but she's a grinder. Look at what she can do. All the songs, right?
Mm-hmm.
All the voices. She runs a room. She's working hard. She's like humble. She's professional. It's like, don't get it twisted. Like she got talent. She works her ass off.
Yeah.
She didn't get lucky.
Mm-hmm.
It was very obvious to me as soon as I started seeing what she was doing, because I was like, oh, like she's a monster.
Yeah. Yeah.
And she wasn't as known as there's some people who are kind of known. Mm-hmm. And then they think you got it in the bag. Nah, man, you don't got it in the bag. Not in this industry. That's what I know, is that I've been in this industry for so long, but I don't take anything for granted. I have to earn every single thing, every single single that I hit. Mm-hmm. It's like I have, this is the metaphor, right? But it's like I've read the scouting report and I know what the count is, and I have my batter's box strategy, and I've earned every single for 25 years.
Yeah. Yeah.
And people don't realize how tapped in you have to be to succeed in our business.
Yeah. And so where can our listeners find you on social media? Obviously they can find you on Clubhouse, but
100 hours a week I'm on Clubhouse. Yeah.
Wow. When the hell do you sleep?
Dude, like that's the floor, man. I put in 120 hours a week on Clubhouse every week.
Wow. And so with that, you still are able to, I mean, right now you're doing a lot of interviewing. Are you working on any projects right now, or is the time away from that just kind of allowing you to kind of catch up and work on promoting the stuff that you already have out there?
Yeah. I mean, look, I told you I was offered a lead in this project. I said, yes, I'll be shooting in August. We're still locked down in Toronto.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah, that's right.
Yeah. So, and also like I'm at, I directed my feature film, The Market. Mm-hmm. So I make feature films. So I was offered a 2-picture deal as a screenwriter through my Hollywood agent. Mm-hmm. They're negotiating. We may walk, to be honest. Depends on the rate. Getting lowballed right now. And I'm like, here's the thing. When I commit to a project at that level, it's a multi-year commitment. Yeah. So I'm a little picky about what I take on next. I have a lot of offers to work. Yeah. But if I have to be perfectly honest, I don't have a thing that I love. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. That grabs my heart, and I'm like, yes. Mm-hmm. So I'm just building out my network. I'm getting a lot of offers, right? But I'm gonna just take my time and do what's right for me.
Excellent. Yeah. And that's really the only way that you can really approach this business, any business, really, any sort of passion. It's, do what works for you and keep on getting those singles. That's what Bobby has been doing for over a couple of decades. That's what I hope that all of you have been able to take from this and run with. You don't always have to swing for the fences. When you see those opportunities, hit those singles, get on base, get yourself moving. I hope everything that Bobby has said has been as motivating for you as it has for me. And so for Bobby Del Rio, this is George Sirois saying to all of you, ever upward. And I will see you next week. Today's show is brought to you by Audible. Audible is offering our listeners a free audiobook with a 30-day trial membership. If you've never been an Audible customer and want to see what they offer, just go to www.audibletrial.com/Excelsior Journeys and browse the unmatched selection of audio programs. Download a title for free and start listening. It's that easy. Why Audible? Audible content includes an unmatched selection of audiobooks, original audio shows, news, comedy, and more from the leading audiobook publishers, broadcasters, and entertainers. And with this free 30-day trial, you'll have your pick of it all. You can hear books of all genres narrated by Jim Dale, Stephen Fry, Will Patton, Alex Hyde White, Jeff Brick, Neil Shaw, William Demerit, and even a few by me, George Sirois. So go to www.audibletrial.com/Excelsior Journeys and start your own 30-day journey with Audible today.